My name is Sienna Maris Ortega. I'm 28 years old. I have worked very hard to build a life where people take me seriously the first time they meet me. I'm a sales rep for a tech company that loves buzzwords like brand identity and forward-facing culture. Translation: what I look like matters. The way I carry myself in a room with strangers matters. My hair has always been part of that. 2 years of carefully growing it out, trimming it just right so it hit past my shoulders in a way that felt professional but still a little rebellious. Sleek waves on good days, messy bun on Saturdays, a subtle armor I didn't realize I'd grown used to until the morning I woke up and it was gone. Last Tuesday, I woke up cold. Not overall cold, head cold. There was this weird sensation, like air was hitting skin it wasn't supposed to be touching. I reached up, still half asleep, expecting to push hair out of my face. My fingers met skin, smooth, unfamiliar skin. I shot upright, heart pounding, and both hands flew to my head. No hair, no ponytail, no anything. I stumbled out of bed and into the bathroom. The light flicked on, and the person in the mirror almost didn't look like me. My head was shaved. Not clean-shaven, patchy and uneven, with random stubble and nicks along my scalp like someone had gone at it with clippers in the dark. I stood there, gripping the sink, feeling my world tilt slightly. Then I saw him in the doorway. My boyfriend, Jace, 26, and permanently glued to his phone, was standing there with his camera up, recording. He was laughing so hard he could barely keep the frame straight. "Oh my God, babe, your face," he wheezed. "This is gold. This is actually gold." I stared at him through the mirror. "What did you do?" I asked Say. My voice sounded strange, detached from my body. "Relax," he said, grinning. "It's just a prank, babe, for TikTok. You're going to go so viral." And he walked closer and held up his screen for me to see. The video was already uploaded. It was a sped-up montage of him sneaking into our bedroom with clippers, glancing at the camera, then shaving my head while I slept. A trending audio track played in the background, something stupidly upbeat. The caption read, "She said I could do whatever I wanted. Prank wars. Let's go." The view count was already at 700,000 and climbing. Comments flooded in so fast they blurred. Savage. He's a menace. Couple goals. No way she stays with him. Underneath all that, my reflection stared back at me with wide eyes and a bare head I didn't recognize. Here's the thing. I never said he could do whatever he wanted. 3 weeks ago, he'd asked if he could tweak my eyebrows as a joke while I slept. I'd rolled my eyes and said, "Fine, pluck like one hair if you're so desperate for content." I'd woken up with 2 hairs missing and him giggling like a 12-year-old. I'd let it go because at the time it felt harmless. This wasn't harmless. "It's hair, Sienna," he said, still filming my reaction. "It grows back. Don't be such a baby about it." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't smack the phone out of his hand, even though the urge trembled just under my skin. I took a breath, looked at my butchered head in the mirror, and said calmly, "Very funny." He lit up like I'd given him the reaction he wanted. "See, you're such a good sport. Oh my God, we're like actual couple goals right now." He turned the camera back to himself, narrating. "She's taking it like a champ, you guys. Drop your prank ideas for round 2 in the comments." Round 2? As if this was a game we were equally playing. As if I hadn't just had my bodily autonomy shaved off my head for engagement. I had a client presentation that afternoon, a big one. I was supposed to meet with a regional director, give a demo, and convince them to renew a contract worth more than my yearly salary. Our dress code is flexible. This is tech, not finance, but it doesn't exactly encourage hats. I stood there in front of my closet, staring at my blazers and blouses, and finally grabbed the least obnoxious beanie I owned. I walked into the office and felt every eye flick up to my head and then politely dart away. My manager pulled me aside before the meeting. "We usually don't do hats," he said gently, like I might break, "but I'm assuming there's a good reason?" I forced a laugh. "Lost a bet?" I lied. "My boyfriend thought it'd be funny." He pressed his lips together, then sighed. "Okay, once. Just once. Clients can be old school." The meeting went fine. I hit my talking points. The demo crashed only once. They laughed at my jokes. But the entire time, I was hyper aware of the knit fabric against my scalp, the way sweat gathered along the hairline that wasn't there, the phantom sensation of tugging hair behind my ear. Holding myself together in that conference room felt like holding wet sand. When I got home that evening, Jace was already sprawled on the couch, phone in hand, grinning at the screen. "Babe," he said, popping up. "You're internet famous. We hit 2 million views. TikTok emailed me. They want to feature us on the couple's page. This could literally be the thing that blows our account up." "Our account," I repeated, taking off my coat. "Right." He didn't hear the edge in my voice. "We need to do a reaction video. People are obsessed with how chill you were. They think we're like the healthiest couple they've ever seen." Healthy. I walked past him into the kitchen, dropped my bag on the counter, and opened the fridge. The yogurt I'd been looking forward to was gone. Another prank I'd likely see later in a video of him eating it in slow motion to dramatic music. A week before, he'd dumped hot sauce into my protein powder and declared the resulting choking fit iconic content. He hadn't always been like this. When we met, he was funny and attentive. He had a small but loyal following online, and I thought the influencer thing was just a hobby. Over the last year of living together, it had become his entire personality. Every inconvenience, every annoyance, every intimate moment was potential content. My life had become potential content. That night, after he left for an influencer friend's party, where they would undoubtedly film themselves doing spontaneous things for hours, I sat on the couch in the quiet apartment and opened my laptop. I typed "hair transplant after trauma" into the search bar, not because I truly thought I needed one, but because he had made me doubt something as basic as my hair growing back normally. Then, halfway through an article, my eyes drifted toward the spare bedroom door. Jace's studio. He had converted the second bedroom into a shrine to his online identity. Ring lights, tripods, a vanity he used for makeup videos, and, most importantly, his prized possessions. Rare sneakers and streetwear pieces he called investments. He talked about them more reverently than he ever talked about me. "These are generational," he'd say, holding up some limited edition pair like it was a chalice. "I could sell these in 10 years and put a down payment on a house." He kept them meticulously arranged on shelving units, each pair tagged, each box labeled. He knew their value down to the cent. He also insisted on storing them in the spare bedroom instead of a locked storage unit because we both pay rent. The whole apartment is ours. When he filled my shampoo bottle with hair removal cream a few months back, he'd cemented the rules. Anything in shared spaces was fair game for pranks. "Common areas are open season," he'd texted, laughing, when I confronted him. I thought about that text as I stood in the doorway of the spare room. The sneakers sat in rows, lit by a soft glow from his LED strips. Some were brand new, some scuffed intentionally to distress them. Beside them sat a glass case of watches and accessories he'd bought secondhand and had authenticated like they were art. I stepped inside. The carpet muffled my footsteps. I took out my phone and began to methodically photograph every item, every label, every authenticity certificate he'd saved in plastic sleeves. I made a spreadsheet listing each pair, each purchase date, each estimated resale value. I'd learned more about resale markets from listening to him than I'd ever wanted to know. GOAT, StockX, private Facebook groups. I created accounts on consignment platforms he mentioned when he thought I wasn't really listening. I priced everything to move. Not full market, but enough. Enough to do to him what he'd done to me, only this time with a paper trail. By 3 a.m, 12 pairs and a handful of accessories were listed. By 5, half were sold. By the time I finally crawled onto the air mattress in the living room, my scalp itching against the pillowcase, I had $31,000 pending transfer. I stared at the ceiling and felt something I hadn't felt since I'd seen my bald head in the mirror. Not humiliation, not shock. Control Jace came home the next afternoon buzzing with the kind of hyperactive confidence he only got when the internet validated something terrible he'd done. I heard him before I saw him, the front door swinging open, the rapid-fire tapping of his phone screen, the half laugh he used whenever he was narrating his life to an invisible audience. Babe, he called, walking into the living room with the swagger of someone who thought he was untouchable. You won't believe the engagement. The video's at 2.1 million. TikTok wants to feature us on... He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes fell on the coffee table, where I'd left 3 hair transplant consultation packets spread out like a fan. The clinic logos, the pricing breakdowns, the before and after models, it was all very dramatic looking. Exactly the impression I wanted to give. What is all this? He asked. I didn't look up immediately. I let him squirm for a few seconds before turning a page in one of the packets. Just exploring options, I said lightly. You know, since you shaved my head. The consultant said the scarring from the clipper pressure might affect regrowth. It was complete nonsense. My scalp was fine. But he didn't know that. His face twitched. Scarring? Uh-huh, I said, tapping a photo in the pamphlet. Apparently when you take clippers to someone's head while they're unconscious, you can create long-term issues. He blinked rapidly, suddenly unsure. It was a prank, Sienna. You're being dramatic. Right, I said, a prank. He seemed relieved at my even tone, still convinced I was taking this so well. He started to rally. Anyway, he said, waving his phone. TikTok loves us. We have like 1,000 new comments. People want a part 2. The couple goals hashtag is blowing up. Then, like fate had a twisted sense of timing, he added, I might get a brand deal out of this. His arrogance was almost impressive. Cool, I said, closing the folder. Speaking of projects, didn't you say your new YSL drop came today? Yeah, I was going to do an unboxing video. He grinned. Views are insane right now. I bet the unboxing will... He headed toward the spare bedroom. 3 steps, 2, 1. Sigh-na. There it was. The exact pitch of scream I had imagined. He sprinted out of the room, phone already up, recording himself mid-panic like reflex. This isn't funny, he yelled. Where are my sneakers? Where are my bags? I looked up from my laptop as serenely as a monk at sunrise. Oh, those? I sold them. He froze. His expression went blank for half a second, like his brain needed time to buffer. You what? I pulled out my phone, scrolling casually to the real confirmation email. Sold them. They were in a shared space, so prank rules, right? You said common areas are fair game. His voice cracked. That's different. Those are worth 35,000, I offered. Well, 31,000 after quick sale pricing. His jaw dropped. You sold my collection? You shaved my head, I said mildly, while I was asleep. That was a prank. And this is a prank, I echoed. I even said the words very funny to stay consistent with the brand. He made a strangled sound. Give me my money. I can't. I already used it to put down deposits on the transplant procedures. Hair doesn't just magically regrow after you butcher someone's scalp, you know. These things cost money. Now he was fully unraveling. That's theft, he screamed. I'm calling the police. I encourage you to, I said. I have the video where you assaulted me while unconscious. Millions of witnesses. Should I pull it up? He turned so red I thought a blood vessel might burst. He actually called 911. I sat there on the couch, sipping water while he dramatically paced, ranting about stolen investments and female psychos and legal consequences. The dispatcher's voice was audible even from my distance. Sir, this sounds like a civil dispute, not a criminal matter? No, she robbed me. Sir, you shaved her head in her sleep for an internet video. Silence. Then, faintly, well, that was different. The dispatcher ended the call. Jace whirled on me, rage boiling so fast it almost steamed off him. He opened TikTok, hit record, and launched into a 10-part saga about how I had financially abused him, destroyed his livelihood, and violated the sanctity of his property. He cried. Actual tears. I'd never seen him cry before. His followers had, though, and they weren't sympathetic. Comments rolled in. Bro, she just applied your own rules. You shaved her head? Nah, she's the hero. Selling sneakers is not the same as assault. Dude, admit you lost. His influencer friends, however, were rabid. My phone exploded with DMs. You owe him everything. Those were his kids. How dare you sell them? You ruined his career. I'm exposing you, you toxic psycho. I blocked them all. But the real turning point came 2 days later. Brands began distancing themselves from him. He'd lose one sponsorship, then another. His email inbox became a graveyard of after further review messages. Apparently recording felonies for content was a bad look. And just as I thought he might finally calm down, he detonated a new level of chaos. I came home Friday to an empty entertainment area. No TV, no console, no espresso machine. Then I got the notification. Jace posted a new TikTok. I tapped the thumbnail. There he was, on the balcony, dramatically tossing my PlayStation off the third floor, like some gladiator offering blood to the crowd. My TV followed, then my espresso machine, each one shattered on the pavement while he narrated theatrically. The video hit 1 million views in 3 hours, but this time the comments weren't with him. This is criminal. You need jail, not followers. She's filing a police report right now, I guarantee it. What happened to pranks? This is destruction. I didn't hesitate. I called the police. An officer came, took my statement, watched the video, and said, "Well, that's open and shut destruction of property." I slept at my friend Lydia's that night, too tired to feel anything but numbness. By morning, drama channels had latched on. They tore Jace to pieces, his lies, his contradictions, his narcissism. Screenshots rolled across YouTube thumbnails like courtroom exhibits. It was only then, when his world was falling apart, that he finally remembered how to apologize. He showed up at Lydia's door the next day, sobbing, begging, pleading, performing grief for the world, but directing the monologue at me. "I love you, Sienna. We can work this out. This got out of hand." Lydia recorded the entire thing on her doorbell camera. When he tried to force the door open, Lydia threatened to call the cops. He ran. And still, the escalation wasn't over. His mother called me next. "You ruined my son's future," she snapped, "all over a silly prank." "He shaved my head in my sleep," I said. She sniffed. "Men don't care about hair." He also threw thousands of dollars of my belongings off a balcony. Boys will be boys. I hung up. The next day, a thick envelope containing legal documents arrived. He was suing me. The categories were laughable: theft, emotional distress, lost income, defamation. I stared at the paperwork for a long moment. Then I said out loud to no one, "Oh, sweetheart, you really shouldn't have done that." The lawsuit should have scared me. A year ago, it probably would have. But sitting at Lydia's kitchen table with a mug of Too Strong coffee and a month's worth of screenshots, I felt nothing close to fear. Not when the packet arrived, not when I opened it, and certainly not when I read the claims Jace and his bargain bin attorney had drafted. He accused me of theft, of emotional damage, of sabotaging his influencer career, of maliciously interfering with his income streams. He demanded $100,000 in damages. I actually laughed. Not a bitter, broken laugh, a clear one, a bright one, the kind that comes from a place you didn't know you still had inside you. Lydia raised an eyebrow. "So how's it feel being sued by a grown man who films himself doing dances in pajamas?" "It feels like Tuesday," I said. But I wasn't naive. I wasn't going to walk into this empty-handed. So I called my cousin, Andrea, who works as a paralegal and has a spine forged from titanium and divorce court filings. Andrea showed up the next morning wearing glasses she didn't need and carrying a legal pad already half filled. "Before we begin," she said, sitting down, "tell me you have every single video he made." I nodded and turned my laptop toward her. "Oh, honey," she whispered, scrolling. This is art." By the time we finished gathering everything, the evidence folder on my desktop had so many files it looked like it belonged to the FBI. The head shaving video he publicly posted, the balcony destruction video with 3 angles, screenshots of his texts about prank rules, DMs from his followers harassing me, his fake Craigslist posts, his fake call to my job, his original insistence that anything in common areas is fair game, his bragging about getting away with it, police citations, neighbor complaints, doorbell footage of him trying to shove his way into Lydia's apartment, brand emails showing he lied about me contacting them. It was overwhelming. It was damning. Andrea flipped through everything and shook her head. "He sued the wrong woman," she said. "We're countersuing." "For how much?" "For exactly what he owes you. Property damage, legal fees, emotional harm, assault, harassment, defamation. We're keeping it reasonable." I blinked. "Reasonable?" She grinned. $3,500. "That's it?" "That's all you need. The goal isn't to demolish him. The goal is to make him regret ever involving the legal system." Mediation was held at a downtown law office that tried too hard to look expensive. Fake hardwood floors, decorative succulents, a receptionist who said everything as though she were reading from a script. Jace arrived with an entourage, his mother, his lawyer, and his self-appointed PR consultant. A friend with 50,000 followers who called herself Jade and spoke like she believed mediators bowed to influence metrics. He looked worse than before, thinner, eyes hollow from too many nights stressing over views trending downward. His mother immediately glared at me, as though I had personally snuffed out her family bloodline. I walked in with Andrea and a slim folder of printed evidence. The mediator was an older woman with steel gray hair and the kind of expression that made you sit up straighter. She skimmed both filings, then leaned back. "Mr. Ellison," she said to Jace, "would you like to explain your claims?" Jace cleared his throat. "She sold $40,000 worth of my property." 35, I corrected pleasantly, and actually 31. Jade leaned forward. "Those handbags." Andrea tapped her pen sharply. "Sneakers." "Whatever," Jade snapped. "The point is, they were his and she stole them." The mediator raised a hand. "Let's start with the basics. Please play the video." Andrea pressed play on the head-shaving clip. Silence filled the room except for the tinny trending audio and the sound of clippers buzzing over my unconscious head. On the screen, Jace grinned at the camera like a game show host introducing the next challenge. When it ended, no one spoke. The mediator inhaled slowly. "That," she said, "is assault." Jace's mother shot upright. "It was a prank." The mediator didn't even turn her head. "Pranks require consent." His mother sputtered. "Consent? They're dating." I lifted a finger. "We're dating." Andrea handed over printed text messages. Jace proclaiming, anything in shared spaces is fair game for pranks. The exact rule he created before dumping hair removal cream into my shampoo bottle months earlier. "So," the mediator summarized, "you established prank rules, violated your partner's bodily autonomy, posted it without consent, monetized it, generated harassment toward her, destroyed her property, interfered with her employment, and escalated the conflict repeatedly. And now you're seeking damages because she played by your stated rules?" Jade flipped her hair defiantly. "It's different when a woman does it." The mediator actually laughed, not kindly. "Mr. Ellison," she said, folding her hands, "you have no viable claim here. Your girlfriend, however, has several. If this goes to court, you will lose." Jace's mother gasped. "Lose? But she's ruining his future. He's an influencer." Andrea slid a paper forward. "Here is the police report, and here is the platform correspondence stating they dropped him due to his own behavior." Jade turned red. "He's a content creator. This is cancel culture." "No," the mediator said. "This is accountability." Jace swallowed. What do you recommend?" "That you drop your lawsuit," she said, "and immediately compensate Ms. Ortega for the property you destroyed, $3,500, and vacate the apartment within 30 days. His mother exploded. "Absolutely not!" Jace's lawyer leaned into him and whispered something urgent. "Probably. If this continues, you'll be arrested." Because in the end, Jace looked at me, really looked, and saw the truth. He had lost. He nodded, defeated. "Fine." The mediator slid the papers forward. "Sign." He did. I did. His mother muttered curses in 2 languages. Jade live blogged the walk of shame to the elevator. Andrea high-fived me behind a manila folder. 2 weeks later, he moved out. No confrontation, no tears, no last-minute speeches on the sanctity of content creation. He just left. His follower count dropped from 300,000 to under 100,000. His brand deals evaporated. His comeback video, claiming the whole thing was a social experiment, was ratioed into oblivion when viewers surfaced a 6-month-old clip of him explicitly stating his prank rules. "That shampoo hair removal prank," he'd once bragged into the camera, "anything in common areas is fair game." He had condemned himself with his own content. Drama channels used his rise and fall as a case study. His influencer friends quietly unfollowed him. His mother tried texting me, long paragraphs about how I'd destroyed her son's dream. I didn't respond. My hair began growing back faster than I expected. Soft at first, then strong, then beautiful. I never needed the transplant, just the documentation that made him sweat. With the settlement money, I bought myself a new console, a new TV, a coffee machine that made real espresso instead of caffeinated sadness. The rest of the $31,000 sat quietly in my savings account, a cushion of safety in case I ever doubted my worth again. At work, a colleague named Landon took notice. He'd watched the whole situation unfold with a mixture of horror and awe. One day he approached me at the coffee machine and said, "If it means anything, I think you handled all of that like a superhero." "Please," I said, smirking. "If I were a superhero, my power would be paperwork." "It worked," he said. "And for what it's worth, I promise never to prank you." "Good," I said. "I don't play about my boundaries." He grinned. "I like that about you." We've been dating since. It's quiet, easy, no cameras, no performative affection. When he laughs, it's with me, not at me. When we disagree, he chooses conversation over content. Sometimes he touches the soft regrowth on my scalp and says, I like the new you. But the truth is, I'm not new. I'm just finally mine. Jace wanted to be internet famous by humiliating me. He wanted to go viral with a prank that crossed every line. He wanted to set the rules, twist them and win the war. But here's the thing about wars, you start for views. Sometimes the audience cheers for the other side. And sometimes the quietest person in the room walks away with the hair, the money, the dignity, and the life you never deserved to be part of.